Hey Grovers, thank you so much for joining me again today. I wanted to talk to you today about masking in Photoshop. I've had a few folks ask me about this, and it really is such an important tool to know about when you are photographing interiors. So I feel that it's really important that people know about this. So we're going to look at this photo. It's got 4 layers to it. It's lovely kitchen, but obviously it has some bright spots. It's got some dark shadows, and what masking does is it allows you to blend layers really easily and smoothly. And this is phenomenal for when you are having different exposures to help balance out the bright and dark areas in a room. So this shot here is actually going to be my ambient shot. It's my base photo that I'm going to use for my editing. This is the photo that has the majority of the kitchen in a pretty good exposure that I'm comfortable with. But like I said, it's got some dark areas and it's got some bright areas. So we're going to take our base photo and drag it all the way down. And then we have our other exposures that are for other specific parts of the photo. So this one, obviously very strong flash. I took this one because of the window. The window was very blown out. It was a very bright day outside. So this shot allows me to capture some of the detail in that window above the sink. This one, it's ambient, it's a little bit darker, and this was more for the light fixture above the sink, the ceiling area over here, and then also for the appliances and decorative pieces on the countertop there right by the window, just to get a little bit more depth and detail in those. And then this shot is purposely overexposed because this is the one that I'm going to use to brighten up my shadows on that left side of the photo. So if you remember our base shot here, it's got some dark shadows here on the left side. So I'm going to use this bright overexposed shot to help bring out some of that brightness in the shadows. So we're going to start with that one. We're going to have our base photo, our base layer on. And then one at a time, we're going to do masking for each layer that goes above it. So we're going to start with this really bright one. You want to select that layer, make sure that it's on, and then press Alt or Option as you click on this layer mask icon. And it's going to add this black rectangle. This basically says that there's a black mask over this layer. The black mask is going to hide the layer. It hides the photo. And what you're going to do is use a brush with white to reveal the parts that you want to reveal. Let's look at how that's done. You want to make sure that the mask is selected, not the photo. You want to select the mask. Then you go over here, make sure that your swatches show that white is on top, and then make sure that you are in the brush tool. You can press B or you can click on this icon here. For opacity and flow, I like to keep them kind of low. Opacity, actually, I typically have it at about 20. It's at 35 right now, which is fine for the demonstration. But typically when I'm working on a photo for a client, I like it to be closer to about 20%. It just gives it a much more soft and subtle effect. So now that we have our brush, we have our black mask on this layer. We can use the brackets to increase or decrease the size of the brush. And we're going to start click and drag. Click and drag in the areas that you want to reveal. And what I'm doing is I'm revealing that bright exposure that is on this layer. I'm revealing that photo that is underneath the black mask. And because that photo was only going to be used for the shadows, that's the only part that I'm brushing it on for. So you can see the shadows have brightened, but more importantly, I want you to take a look at what this black rectangle looks like, because now we have some white, and this is where we painted with the white brush. This is where we started revealing the layer that's underneath. And we're going to do that with each layer afterwards until we get all of the blending that we want. Now this next one, remember, it was about this countertop area by the window and the light fixture and ceiling right above the sink. So same thing, with this layer selected, we're going to click Alt or Option and the icon. We get our black mask on there, which means that this layer is hidden. Our brush is still in white. We're in brush mode. and we're going to go in the area that this shot was taken for. So we're going to go right here, countertop by the window, and you can see how it starts to darken that area. We're going to do the ceiling here above the sink, and you can see I'm doing it a little bit quicker, a little bit more of a quick dirty version than I normally would for a client, but I want you to just get the gist of what this tool does. So you can see if I turn that layer off and on, this is what it was, and I painted part of that exposure on there. And again, you look at the mask and you can see the white areas are where I revealed the layer that's underneath the mask. The last one we're going to try this with is this shot that has the strong flash for the window. You press Alt or Option, the mask icon, you have your black mask. And again, we're going to use a big brush and we're going to just go right on top of that area. Now obviously if there are details around the edges that you want to make sure to not get, you can still lasso. You can lasso and then just brush within the lasso, and that's going to help you give you a nice clean edge. You can also use a smaller brush and gives you a little bit more control. So for example, this one I would probably not go so heavy because then you have these really bright kind of this bright flashlight on this plant and planter right here by the window, and that's not really the look that I want. One last note about masking: if you want to cover something back up, say I have this layer and I go a little bit too far over here and I say, oh, you know what, I went too far, I want to undo that. You can press X, or you can click on these little arrows here on the left by the swatches, and it makes your brush black. Now, if a white brush is to reveal what's underneath, a black brush is to mask or cover what's underneath. So just like you were able to reveal the layer underneath it with a white brush, we're now going to mask it again with a black brush. And if you look at your rectangle here, as I'm painting with the black brush, you're going to see that this grayish area where I had started painting it with a white brush, it's going to go back to being black. That means it's being covered back up. So the nice thing about masking is it's non-destructive to that exposure to the photo. It's very easy to work with. It's very easy to undo and redo any kind of masking, any kind of brushing. And you can make it really subtle with your brush size and your brush opacity and flow. And so it really gives you a whole lot of flexibility. So we're going to leave it around there. And hopefully that gives you guys a clear idea of what masking does. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Please shoot me an email, hello@nataliarobert.com. You can find me on Instagram at thegrovehq, and you can DM me there. I'm always available. And please subscribe to this channel. I hope to add more tutorials for you very soon. I hope this has been a great help to you. If you have any questions or anything, reach out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.